Hello and welcome. It's John Pollock alongside Jimmy Korderas. This Sunday night, the WWE is back with yet another pay-per-view. This, the Raw-branded Extreme Rules, where we will get such extreme measures as kendo sticks, titles that can change on disqualifications, mixed tags that now qualify as extreme, and a fatal. That is extreme.
Not
fatal.
Not fatal?
Not a fatal five-way.
Okay.
But now I'm going to screw that up. But we're going to talk about the winner of the fatal five-way, if you catch that screw up on Talking Smack this week, Jimmy.
No, I did. Actually, I have to go back and watch. I didn't get to watch Talking Smack this week. Full disclosure.
Well, we won't be talking any smack on this show because this is ahead of Extreme Rules on Sunday night. Let's start in the main event. We have our five-way with Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins. You have meaningful stakes here. The winner will get to headline against Brock Lesnar. What has been called on television up till this point in July, or the July pay-per-view. We have not actually heard on television the name of this show, which is going to be quite the punchline for the next 30 or so days. I
can only imagine what's going to come out of people's mouths for this one, especially from the announce team. Looking forward to Booker T calling it Great Balls of Fire.
I was saying that maybe it should have been the WWE that scooped Impact, and they brought Scott Steiner in for that pay-per-view because he's the only one that could cut promos with that title and make them great.
And then add a bit of Scott Steiner math into the equation?
Oh, my goodness.
Priceless stuff.
Yeah, maybe it could be a chemistry lesson on how these balls could catch fire at a great rate.
Can you imagine Scott Steiner going through the periodic table?
Yes, I could.
Oh, okay, wow.
I definitely could. Let us move on to the five-way. Lots of different directions they can go, and I've got to say this. I know that people have been negative. Oh, where's Brock been since WrestleMania? They have set up so many programs for this guy. Beyond Reigns, there is the eventual Finn Balor getting his rematch for the title he never lost. There's Braun Strowman, who's on the sidelines at the moment. There's the winner of this match, which may not in fact be Balor or Reigns. You've got so much set up that if you are keeping this title on Brock Lesnar until WrestleMania, you can easily book this through these contenders that you've built up, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And what I love about this is you talk about the 5 contenders in this match. Each one of these guys, you can make a logical case for winning this match and going on to face Brock Lesnar. And depending on what the end game is, like you said, it probably is WrestleMania. I guess it's penciled in for WrestleMania is the rematch Brock and Roman Reigns, which we never got really a conclusion to in Santa Clara that year because, you know, Seth Rollins cashed in. So there's another layer to the story added there going into to Sunday. But trying to decide who's going to, you know, trying to predict who's going to come out of this one, you know, like I'm of two minds here. I have a heart pick and I have like a kind of like a more, you know, logical pick. My heart says I'd love to see, and I know you guys talked about this on the Law, I'd love to see a Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar matchup, but I don't want to see it at a pay-per-view like Great Balls of Fire or something like that. I believe that's a match that can be built up to a SummerSlam, a Survivor Series, if you want to still consider that one of the big four, maybe Royal Rumble, or even, well, you know, obviously different plans for WrestleMania, but that's a match that really intrigues me. That being said, Sunday, I could see a Seth Rollins being a bridge to the next contender, so to speak.
Yeah, I look at them and I'm with you. I think everyone wants to see that Lesnar-Joe program, but if you are of the belief that the company has all of this stuff mapped out with Brock and it ends with Roman at WrestleMania, when can you do that? I mean, this is not a company that typically looks at things and says, well, we really want to have this long Joe program. Let's pencil that in for the summer of 2018. Right. That'll be our program. I mean, there's just so many variables that can occur. I think that he's a logical choice in all of this because of the fact that it's a fresh match. It's a believable challenger, which I don't think a lot of people will buy into a Seth Rollins build. I just don't think his character's at the point yet where people are going to be buying that this could be a title change and calling this a transition pay-per-view. You want to make it something big. even with the ridiculous names such as Great Balls of Fire. And that's why I think that Joe is someone that could very well win this match.
Yeah, well, it would be an interesting choice. Like you said, you have so many options here and so many other contenders. Like you said, you have Braun Strowman on the sidelines, and obviously that seems to be a direction that they want to go. I find it interesting that Paul Heyman last week came out and basically in his promo tried his best, and I think he did very well in making people, somewhat believe that despite the size difference and the believability factor of a Finn Balor versus a Brock Lesnar.
They pushed you to want to see that match.
Yes, and they made you think that at least there is a possibility. And you know what? For all the people who say that, that size difference doesn't make it believable, I look back to a person like a Rey Mysterio who had the uncanny ability to face even someone like The Undertaker in a match, and a lot of that is on The Undertaker as well, two guys working in the match, where there are times in the match where you believe that a guy like Rey Mysterio may actually beat someone like that. And I think someone with the talents of a Finn Balor and Brock, who is very underrated for his selling, I think they could pull it off.
Mm-hmm. Now, you may notice these WrestleMania DVDs, so at the end of the show, we're going to let you know how you can win these, and it ties into this match at Extreme Rules. So we go over those. Balor is one that I agree with you. I think the Heyman promo really makes you want to see that match. I think it benefited Balor a lot to be on the receiving side of that promo from Heyman and putting him over as such. Any other of the other options, I just don't feel now is the time for Reigns. I think everyone realizes that. This is a match where he doesn't have to be pinned to lose the match by design. And then your other options in this match, Bray Wyatt to me is just, he's a character that I think no one assesses more than the audience, the Bray Wyatt character. And he's just I watched Raw this week, and I watched his promo where I almost feel I have to put it through Google Translate afterwards to understand what the message was. And then I hear, while not the same character, it's a delivery and something that I can at least compare it to, and that's Goldust. And it's such a different presentation. It's a different promo while still conjuring up these characters they use. And it's night and day, the effectiveness to me. I thought the Goldust thing was great. And Bray Wyatt, his promos, everyone raves about his delivery. But if you're not receiving the package, how great is the delivery?
That's a good point. It's funny because when we first were introduced to Bray Wyatt and this delivery and style of promo, it was unique. It was different. I think part of the problem is that his promo style hasn't really evolved much, other than being very cryptic and very read between the lines kind of thing. And sometimes, like you said, in the delivery, Goldust delivery, very deliberate, very to the point. You knew exactly where he was going with everything, where you didn't have to really try and, suss things out. You know what I mean? And so maybe a slight retooling of Bray Wyatt, not really going totally stray away from the character that he is, but, just maybe little tweaks here and there. To me, he hasn't, other than his look, hasn't really evolved much.
So is he your least likely candidate to win this match, which could make him the most likely?
Exactly. It's kind of like that twisted world. It's like that riddle wrapped in an enigma. How does that go? Something like that, anyway.
It's you're saying?
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm trying to paraphrase somebody else's saying, but it's not working.
This should also be a match that, given the matches they've announced so far, we've got 7 matches. We'll probably see a few additions, but this main event should probably get a ton of time, and I think it's going to be a really outstanding match. Yeah,
given the fact that if the 3-way that they did on Monday is any indication, obviously adding 2 more bodies to the match makes it a little more difficult in presentation, but still, given the structure and the way lately they've been able to utilize the psychology in matches, I think we're in for a pretty good one.
So the show is also going to feature a steel cage match with the Hardys defending the tag titles against Sheamus and Cesaro, who have yet to get any kind of victory over the Hardys since WrestleMania. They have been beaten like a drum, but they won that one-night gauntlet to get this title shot. Is this the time to do the title change? Because I've got to say that, hey, they've gone all in on the Hardys here. I don't know. I'm really not feeling this, and I don't think it is the right choice to take the tag titles off the Hardys as a remedy for a team that's just been beaten so significantly.
Yeah, but that being said, I am enjoying the Cesaro-Sheamus tag team. I think they work well. I think they've got pretty good chemistry together. I like that Sheamus is kind of embracing the more heel persona as opposed to, the sucking up babyface kind of thing, But yeah, this is another, for me, this is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The Hardys seem to be the most over tag team that they've got right now, outside of maybe the New Day on a different brand. So on the Raw brand, they're the most over team. Picking a cage match for this one, I guess, is a little bit unique and different. I guess we'll see, because it adds that stipulation where, of course, in a cage match, you can win by escape as opposed to...
Why don't they just call it a swanton off the cage match? And the first one to do that wins the match, because that's what this is all built around, I feel. Pretty
much, to the big Jeff Hardy spot. I can see it.
You almost that's the one thing. It's like you do a match like this crowd is just going to be waiting for that one spot. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like Jeff is in this position where he used to always be way back, where it was always expected you had to do the big spot in the match. And here he is in a cage match where I think no matter how great of a match they have, it's going to be a letdown if you don't see Jeff jump off of this cage, and that's where the expectation is now.
I'm just worried that it'll end up being something from the top of the cage to the outside. I don't want to see that.
Oh,
yeah. Just increasing the risk factor. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel this cage, it actually kind of limits the match. I think it would be better match without the structure. Mm-hmm. But we will see. Women's title match.
Ooh.
Alexa Bliss and Bayley. A program that I was really enjoying. And then Monday came around, and I just ran into a wall, and I'm still recovering. One of the worst segments I can recall in recent WWE wrestling history with that segment. Can't say that did anything for this program other than bring it to a full stop. But we have the kendo stick on a pole match, Jimmy. Now, do you want to explain? A lot of people out there believe that you just grab the kendo stick and you win the match, but that is not the case.
No. Basically, the rules stipulate that the first person to procure the kendo stick from the pole gets to use it in any manner they see fit.
And the opponent then can as well if they gain possession.
It's just basically whoever gets their hands on the stick gets to use it.
So what I was liking about this program was, first of all, they got the heat in this off of one kendo stick shot. It was like one big kendo stick shot to Bayley instead of 100 to try and just ram it through your head that we are using a kendo stick at the next pay-per-view. It was one shot, and it was just the build-up that Bayley cannot sink to this level, and it was going to build up to Bayley finally getting that kendo stick and nails Alexa and gets so much value out of one kendo stick shot, which I feel is still salvageable, and it's how much the crowd gets into this story of Bayley using a weapon. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think Monday just hurt this so significantly, where people just looked at this as a punchline, and that I don't understand how that segment even made it to television. There's no even payoff to it. There was no, this sounded funny on paper. None of this could have sounded funny on paper. How this got approved, how this made its way to TV. I felt bad for the women involved here.
I did too. And you go back to the week before, like you talked about, the build to this, the one kendo stick shot to Bayley's back, and, of course, the online pictures showing the mark and the whole bed, and, of course, Tommy Dreamer tweeting out all his 72 shots that he took in the back. But, like you said, and then the next week where Bayley gets her hands on the kendo stick and hesitates.
Yes.
Nice little storytelling there. Does she have it in her to sink to that level to actually be able to use the kendo stick? Does she have that mean streak in her? And then the This Is Your Life segment comes along, and of course the automatic thought for people and for fans is they think back to The Rock and Mick Foley and how tremendous that segment was and how funny it was and lasted went over like 14 minutes or 17 minutes or 20 minutes longer than it was supposed to go, and how great it was, which was a lot to live up to. But at the same time, you've got someone like Alexa Bliss, who has been progressing well, and progressing well on the microphone, but I think she was thrust in a spot she wasn't ready for. She isn't ready to carry a segment that long yet. and who knows if she ever gets there. You know, time will tell. But you know, unfair to put her in that position, I think.
Yeah, I don't feel there's too many performers that could go out there, and especially like the magic of the first "This Is Your Life" segment was the personalities involved they went out there for something like 8 minutes and went 21, and it was 95% improv between two dynamic personalities working off of each other. This was a rigidly structured segment with one person doing awful comedy with two actors off Craigslist that were equally terrible.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing about comedy and wrestling. I mean, there are people out there who will say funny doesn't draw money, and that's true. It doesn't draw money, but at the same time, there is a place for it when done correctly, or
this also wasn't a comedy program.
No, it wasn't supposed to be, but it was kind of like it was unintentional train wreck television.
To me, it just epitomizes when you have such a large team that is putting together ideas, and you can also have other voices that swoop in and say, this is the direction we're going tonight, even though it has zero connection to this build and the story we've been telling the prior weeks about Bayley and her inability to be able to thrive in a match like this. Like, this segment was completely divorced from the build up to this, and it hurt it. So I thought it was not bad just in a vacuum. It was bad for the entire program and could extend to this Sunday too, and people's interest in this match.
And I was trying to figure out where they were going with mentioning Bayley's dad almost as many times as Mr. T mentioned his mom in the Hall of Fame speech.
Imagine Bayley's dad being at ringside, and the segment just involved Alexa taking that kendo stick, and instead of hitting Bayley, just nails her dad, and Bayley is just seething at the end as you go into the pay-per-view on Sunday.
I think we may have something here.
What an idea. I mean, or you could have done Monday's idea. One or the other.
Mondays or the... that's a tough one. I'll get back to you.
Do you see a title change in this?
No. Where is it taking place? St. Louis?
St. Louis. They're on neutral territory.
Okay, they're on neutral territory. So there is a chance that they made the title may switch hands.
Alexa can't lose till they go back to Ohio, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I still like the progression of Alexa Bliss. I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm just being honest. It doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't. So let's move on then. Cruiserweight title. I've liked this quite a lot with Neville and Austin Aries, and really maximizing. You know, they didn't make a very big deal of Neville tapping out on Monday, at least on that show, and the fact it was Neville's first loss in the Cruiserweight division. But they did on 205 Live. They made that the whole focus of the show and built it up a lot. It got the audience chanting at Neville, and it's built these two submissions up very well for a submission match. We didn't get a comedy skit on Monday. Instead, we got a finish that drove people to the match, where if that happens, the title changes. You have two very good personalities. I feel that as looking at just strict build-up, this has been the best-built match on this show.
Yeah, quite possibly. And the thing about Aries and Neville, they've been the two shining lights in the Cruiserweight division, which has been lacking a lot of star power. I mean, there's a lot of good talent there. It's just, for some reason, not connecting with the audience. But these two guys seem to have bucked the trend, so to speak, for the Cruiserweight division. And I think this has the potential to be the best of their series of matches so far. I mean, their WrestleMania match was very good. Sorry, WrestleMania pre-show match.
Which didn't make it onto the DVD, by the way.
So you'll have to find it elsewhere. But I think this has the potential to be the best of their matches. And these are two guys who are motivated to prove that they can go. And I think this may be match of the night, I think.
Very well could be. Yeah, I've really liked this. And if this is the end of Neville's title reign, I think they've done it very effectively to build to this point. So bravo on this program. The Intercontinental title match, Dean Ambrose against The Miz. You said earlier about the women's title match, it really doesn't matter. I will go that same route on this match. The title can change on a disqualification. So... perhaps the Drifter gets involved in this match somehow to try and help The Miz win. Maybe he can attack he can attack the Miz as their big plan. Boy, does that make the referee look goofy.
Yeah. See, that's the problem with these plot holes. What's to stop Maurice from coming in and interfering somehow and costing the match? But then again, you know, there's the logic there. Oh, she's siding with the Miz, so I don't know. There's just too many variables here. And as for who cares, I actually would prefer to see the Miz with the Intercontinental Championship because, sorry, Renee, Dean Ambrose is not doing anything for me right now.
No,
I think Miz is much more entertaining right now.
Yeah, I definitely feel the Miz has kind of been lost in the shuffle since this move. Dean Ambrose was kind of lost on SmackDown, and now he's lost on Raw. I mean, at least he's been consistent. But the Miz, to me, yeah, you could put the title on him. I don't know. To me, it's not a title that has any focus upon it. I don't think it means a thing at this point. I compare it to where you have someone like a Kevin Owens with the U.S. title on SmackDown, and it's a night and day comparison. Like, I don't know. On a show where you don't even have the Universal Champion around every week, there's more incentive to make this title strong, make it something that can headline house shows. They've done nothing. No. I don't have any interest in this program. No, it has been pushed down the ladder of importance, so to speak, and yes, I get the fact that you want your number one contender thing to be the focal point and the Universal Champion eventually to be the focal point. But at the same time, like you said, the night and day scenario with the United States Championship on SmackDown where, now the Jinder Mahal is champion who's appeared on television but hasn't like really been very prominent on television. You know, Kevin Owens has been pushed as, the main champion there. They did a three-way on Raw for a number one contenders match for the IC title that the Miz won, and the losers of that match are now in this Universal title contenders match on Sunday. So that's all you need to know about the roadmap of the championships on Raw. Ambrose or Miz, one of them could win. Let's go with Miz. Rich Swann and Sasha Banks will be taking on Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. This currently slated for the main show. I guess this could end up on the kickoff. It doesn't really matter. Do you like this pairing of Rich Swann with Sasha Banks?
No. Definitely not. You go from being a trailblazer of the women's division, being a part of the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, to being basically arm candy for Rich Swann. And it's not a knock on Rich Swann. I like Rich Swann. I think he's a very talented individual. It's just having the women there, and especially mixed tag matches, which bother me to begin with because there can't be any interaction between the men and the women. So it kind of negates the natural, storytelling of a traditional tag match. But
after 205 Live, I get the sense they're building to a hair match with Sasha and Alicia.
Oh, that should be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I just don't think this is doing any favors for Sasha Banks right now.
Wow. Well, what a picture we have painted for Extreme Rules on Sunday, folks.
Excuse me.
Jimmy can't even keep it down here. He's getting some extreme reaction to some of these matches that are coming up. Well, that is the show. I do imagine some other matches to be announced. While we're here discussing it, the Goldust turn on R-Truth. Have you liked this? And could you see this match being thrown onto the show on Sunday? I almost feel if you were going to do it, they should have set it up on Raw.
It almost kind of half was, but not really. They didn't really pull the trigger on whether or not they're going to. I would like to see it. I like Goldust going back to his roots. It's almost that full circle, the circle of life. Simba getting back to his not full blown original Goldust, but still elements of that original character. I like the seriousness of it, and I like R-Truth's little retort with.
I thought it was really good on Monday.
Yeah, I thought it was. I enjoyed R-Truth as opposed to the little Jimmy stuff and all that stuff, which kind of threw me off. But I actually liked it. I liked the turn. It wasn't quite Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, but it was good. I thought it was well executed. I didn't think people saw it coming, and that's great.
Man, Goldust circa 95 doing promos for Great Balls of Fire. That would work.
Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine, especially without the...
he might have to do those
PG,
promos.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that may or may not happen at Extreme Rules. We will find out. All right, contest time. to enter this contest, you're going to have to go to our message board, lawradio.proboards.com, and in the thread where this video is posted of our preview, in order to win this DVD, you are going to have to guess. You are going to have to guess the exact length of how long Sunday's main event, Fatal 5-Way, goes. To the second, and we will be using Wikipedia as the source for the exact time of the match.
Wikipedia? The trusted source.
When they put the results up with a time attached to it. I don't want to have debates over what second of the match it ended at.
Yeah.
So all you have to enter before Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Just guess the time of the main event, and the closest, without going over, will win the DVD of WrestleMania 33, and we may give out a few of these, so you can do that before Sunday. If someone's already guessed the time, don't guess it a second time, because we won't count yours.
That's a good point. And if you get within 3 seconds, you win both showcase. No, that's a different show, right?
That's a different one, definitely. So go enter that before Sunday night. lawradio.proboards.com in the thread where the Extreme Rules video is posted. So that will do it for us. Next week, Jimmy and I will be back. We'll chat about the fallout of Extreme Rules, and then it's a quick turnaround to Money in the Bank later on this month, featuring 2 ladder matches.
Yeah, we'll talk about that then, too.
We shall discuss. Yeah. And, of course, right after Extreme Rules, The Law is live at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Jason Agnew and Dan Lavransky will be running it down. The Extreme Rules pay-per-view, that is, plus part 2 of our interview with Kenny Omega, as well. Dave Meltzer on the show. Lots of stuff to check out. Go to @Jimmy Korderas, @Law Radio, and we will speak with you on Sunday night.